Thaddeus Curry Productions presents
Unforgiven, Chapter 3. In this chapter, dear listener, you shall be revealed upon the understanding of the events in which would lead Jake Brogan down to the dark path. The very events themselves, not only the description. You shall be witness to seeing David as a child being forced to witness his family rent asunder by monsters so horrific you will have to listen to truly understand. This right here is the one event in which has changed and destroyed so many lives. Yet at the same time, it will pave understanding within your mind as to why things have happened in this story the way they have. This is one of the most pivotal events in which I shall reveal to you. I present to you Unforgiven, Chapter 3.
David Malcolm pukes up the meager contents of his stomach.
He shudders in pain and fatigue. 12 hours have passed since the events of Chapter 2. He stands feebly, balancing himself against the sink. He is very grateful for what Mirrodin had done for him. By all accounts, he should have died, and he knows this. Her control over the blood as well as the life force of those in whom she is bonded to, whether it be physically in one way or another, or those she is fed from. David, of course, is not one she has ever actually allowed herself to even think of partaking of his blood. The repercussions of that is simply a taboo she will not allow. It would allow her more control than would possibly in her mind be proper. And the fact is, due to the events of so many things occurring, it could possibly push boundaries which she will not allow. However, due to the fact they are intimate, she was able to biologically speed up his healing process. It had drained him seriously, and definitely proven painful. It also drained her as well. However, after a very successful night's hunt, as well as a person no longer most likely being in this world, but in the end, it had proven what was needed. She had been able to replenish her energies. He looks in the mirror, and he feels her hand on his shoulder. Of course, she is standing right by him, and there is no reflection. It looks only like he is standing there, even though, of course, that is far from the case. "Are you going to be all right?" she asks him. "For someone who was shot in the gut, I'll be fine." He laughs softly. She coughs slightly and looks at him as incredulously. She glares at him and irritably, very gently punches him in the shoulder. Very gently. Of course, he still rubs the sore bit of his shoulder and his upper arm, and he looks at her. And with this, she simply shakes her head angrily. "You are aware that this is what almost happened to you? That isn't it funny? It is not funny at all." "I'm sorry, I understand. You're trying to... I don't think any of us could have seen this happening, but is he alive? For now, aye. Has he been able to give you what you're needing to know? Answers I'm talking about." She rubs the back of her neck and shakes her head slowly. "He has, but there is so much that... I want to help you, David. You know, but I cannot... not... I'm being boneheaded, I know. I think that's an understatement. The woman basically growls at him gently. Fine. I guess it's time I told you really what happened. Before we met. I know a fair bit of it, what you've divulged, but we've been together for close to a year now. Isn't it right? I know. I'm sorry. Don't apologize, you silly fool. Just try to make it right. It's not a matter of what you owe me. It's that, of course, in time, I cannot tell you my entire lifetime to you. It doesn't work that way, but at least not in a matter of just a couple of hours, but I understand. I'll know as time goes on and as I get to know you better. She nods. So tell me, please. He coughs slightly, spitting out more blood into the sink. I appreciate what you did for me. She nods slowly. He tries to walk and almost falls. She catches him easily enough. I'll be fine. She rolls her eyes and half carries him to sit on basically on the end of their bed. He refuses to lay down, but he's able to sit up. How are you keeping food down? I think you just saw. She rolls her eyes. And he gets serious. I'm doing better. I was able to keep most of it down, but I think it might be a few days before I can actually eat solid food properly. It'll probably take you about a week. How many times have you done this for someone? She shrugs. Not very many. Leave it at that. I understand. What exactly is it you want me to tell you? He asks her gently. She asks gently, looking at him. I have been tracking them. And I have a possible idea where they could be. I'm going to deal with them. You are aware of that, right? I cannot allow them to be a threat to either one of us. As well as the things they have done. I cannot forgive that. David looks at her. At any other time, he might have said, you know, this isn't just about you. But he also understands. The fact is, she has done so much for him. And he understands the reasons. She's told him this many times. But at the same time, she's right. It's not fair. The young man trembles lightly. She rubs her shoulders, as if saying, I get it, I understand. But he also knows if he does not do this now, he will never have the courage to do so. I've given you the basics of what happened to me. What exactly is it you want me to tell you? Start with them, if you can. I know it's going to hurt, but you keeping this in you, trust me, I know more than you think about this kind of thing. He narrows his eyes, looking at her, as if weighing his options. The boy finally nods. Fine. I will tell you. I guess it is time. I want to help you. But I need to know. That way I can. He gently takes her hand in his own and squeezes it. And he finally works up the courage to tell her, what has been tormenting him for so long. Young David Schweitzer is trying to sleep, but he can't. He hasn't been able to for at least a couple of hours. It's Friday night. You think that a child like him would be out cold waiting up for Saturday morning cartoons, getting up early in the morning and enjoying them. That's not the case in this situation. He hears his parents arguing. It's not a vicious argument. As a matter of fact, they're simply having a very frustrating, heated conversation. Adam tells his wife, Abigail, that she can't continue spending the way she is. Because the fact is, they no longer have that kind of money. He had moved money around, not the most legally, but he was able to squirrel certain amounts of cash away in certain bank accounts due to what he does for a living, or what he did for a living. The fact is, he's going to have to basically call up bankruptcy. He's going to have to foreclose on his own business, and that is not something that he is thrilled about at all. His wife is even less thrilled about it. The fact is, she explains to him she's afraid. He asks her point blank, does she want to stay with him, and is she willing to stay by his side? He actually hears her slap the crap out of him, as if saying, how dare you? Adam actually speaks now. I guess I deserve that. Damn straight you did. She snarls at his face. Abby, look, I'm scared too, okay? He hugs the woman to him, firmly. She actually reciprocates the embrace. Afterwards, he rubs a sore spot on his cheek. Those nails will actually cut him. I know I deserve that, but that still hurt. She sighs gently and calmly walks over to the dining room and pulls out a couple of napkins from a place where it's sitting on the table. You know, these napkin boxes sitting on the table. She wipes some of the blood away. I'm sorry. No, it's on me too, Abby. Look, I can make it to where we're comfortable, but we're going to have to possibly leave this house. And where are we going to go? Tell me that. Like I said, I can make sure we're comfortable for at least a couple of years. I'm telling you right now, this crisis going on, I haven't seen anything like this. This was something completely out of left field. And I've been doing what I had done. I know it's not the most legal of things, but I have a couple of spare accounts, which we have some cash in. We'll lose everything when it comes to the business, but we'll have some money in our pockets, a place to live, not exactly the flashy stuff we had before. You know exactly what I mean by flashy. A lot of that stuff is going to have to go. She nods slowly. While many times the two have actually let themselves become somewhat materialistic, they never forgot really what was important. How do you think the kids are going to take it? I'm not too worried about David. He's 6 years old. Hell, the only thing he likes to do is play video games and read. My God, I've never seen such a little bookworm in my life. And she laughs softly. He reminds me of my brother when we were kids. I guess that's a good thing. Ralph always, let's leave it at this. Ralph always struck me as a decent guy. I'm more worried about Helen, to be honest with you. I'm worried about her, too. I'm not exactly too keen on the way you're, sounding. What's up? She sighs lightly and sits down. The woman looks away from him and then meets his gaze. She's been talking to a boy. Well, he's not a boy, he's a man. You mean like full-grown man? Not some teenage idiot? No. This creep is at least 20 years old. I saw him when I dropped her off at school. She was talking with him. I told her to stay away from him, but you know how she can be. She told me that there wasn't much that I could do about it and she couldn't be watched all the time. Oh, believe me, that can easily be fixed. Especially if this guy's an asshole like that. Nah, fuck that. I mean, there's no one going to be touching our daughter like that. So what do you suggest we do? I mean, we can call the cops, but I don't think that's going to do much good. You know as well as I do how I know that. If I have to, I'll talk to some other people. I don't want us to go that route, Adam. I mean, come on. That's a little overkill, don't you think? Now, to be honest with you, I thought that, the reality of us possibly losing this house and having to live in an apartment was overkill too. Point taken, she says. It's at that moment they see headlights through the glass panel of their front door. as well as the sound of a window being closed and footsteps running through the lawn. Adam says nothing as he goes to his office, into the gun cabinet, and yanks out a revolver. To make sure it's loaded, he looks to Abigail, and she nods slowly, understanding what he plans on. Before Helen can even get to that Dodge Charger outside, there's a warning shot fired into the air. And with this, she freezes. Dad, what the hell are you doing? What am I doing? I'm making sure you don't go anywhere. Not with this asshole. I don't know what kind of games you and him are playing. I don't care. Get back here. Now. The woman, or the young woman, the girl, looks at him, almost just shocked, as this very thin, lanky man steps out of the car. The Dodge Charger is not the most clean of vehicles, but it's not exactly filthy either. It's mainly just old. If you ever seen that movie, The Forsaken, that Dodge Charger that's in that movie, that's what this thing looks like, kind of, sort of. The man is lanky. He appears to be maybe 20 years old, maybe 19. Very young, despite the fact he's obviously a grown man. Helen quickly walks back over to where her father is standing. Get back in the house. She nods nervously. And she's actually kind of stunned that Benjamin is obviously what this young man had called himself. She had seen him hanging out at the school. And of course, seen a few of her female friends talking with him, obviously charmed, and believe me, he was very charming to her. He had told her many things. Of course, she would have wanted to get to know about these things. The man, however, just casually looks to Adam. You know, that gun's bigger than you. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is, asshole. I'm gonna give you the count of 1, basically 5, before I put a bullet right in your damn chest. Leave or die. I'm not asking, I'm telling you. 5. 1, the man laughs bitterly and viciously as he moves beyond what anything the eye can see. Before Adam can even fire a shot, his hand reaches out and basically fingers that have elongated into talons, claws, rip out his throat. He gurgles viciously as Benjamin very gently grabs the man, holding him still. As he convulses due to blood loss, the gun clatters to the floor. And with this, he opens his mouth wide, vicious fangs leaping forth from his canine. He bites down, draining all of the blood then and there, just stealing away his life force, consuming him until nothing but a husk is left. He very calmly walks in as Abigail tries to stab him with a knife. Benjamin rolls his eyes and shoves her as hard as he can onto the couch. She's paralyzed with fear. Helen, of course, by this time has tried to run away as well. She screams her father's name. Helen is intercepted by a woman, almost as tall as she is. Petite, 5'3", where Helen stands maybe 5'4", 5'5". The girl has no chance. As the woman with the face of a porcelain doll, beautiful, pale, ruthless, those cobalt blue eyes pierce Helen's own, and her will is literally overpowered. The woman smirks and grabs Helen by the hand. She very calmly takes her to her room and just very gently sits her down on her bed. Don't worry, sweetie. I'll be back for you. And then a man, an older man, walks in. He's a short, stout fellow. Quite pudgy, to be honest, and that's being kind. The man says, well, well, well. Looks like we have ourselves a party. You two are enjoying yourselves, right? Yeah, you could say that. This guy right here, man, he was a downright asshole. Guido Corella rolls his eyes. Yeah, I saw you, making your moves there, kid. Play with your damn food too much, you know that? He rolls his eyes. Well, what can I tell you? You're kind of getting slow in your old age yourself, Fatso. Show some respect, boy, show some respect. Of course, Abigail, by this time, has gotten up from the couch. Her fear has actually overrode any kind of mental control these individuals can have over her. She rushes to grab the knife once more, knowing that her son and her daughter are in danger. She rushes as fast as she can with that knife. She tries to stab the big rotund man in the neck. She damn near succeeds as he grabs her wrist. He snarls angrily. You're a stubborn bitch, I'll give you that. And with this, he very calmly grabs a slightly taller, struggling woman to him. He opens his mouth, fangs drop, and he rips out her throat, drinking deeply. He is a little bit more discreet and not quite as savage in his actions as Benjamin had been. Rixie rolls her eyes as the man actually chuckles and dances around the living room with their spasming corpse as he drains all the blood from her body and casually drops her on the couch. So what are we going to do with her? Rixie asks. She's obviously a petite, doll-faced woman. I don't know, we'll figure something out with her, right? Benjamin says. Enough. Besides, Ben. Yeah, what about it, old man? Okay, so I found her. I thought she was hot. I didn't think this was going to happen. I figured we'd just kind of take her away, have a little bit of a nice time. No harm, no foul. I wasn't exactly expecting this clusterfuck to happen, all right? Why are you looking at me like that, boy? The man face palms. Because you can never keep it in your fucking pants. But at the same time, this might work out for us. And what's that supposed to mean? Rixie says, grimly. She rolls her eyes, frustrated. Well, that girl right there looks your type, don't she? You're not going to even do what I'm thinking you're wanting her to do? She's mine. Back off, boy. You already caused this clusterfuck for all of us. Sit yourself down and do as I command. Fine, Benjamin says petulantly. Now, Rixie, are you going to feed from her or not? She shrugs. I might as well. And with this, she sits down beside Helen, who is basically, she's literally staring at the wall. Her mind has retreated into itself, and Rixie's ability to use the blood within her to literally overpower the minds of others is stronger than most vampires. To be honest, the side effect of this is, even if she did not kill Helen, unfortunately the girl would have pretty much mentally been like that of Swiss cheese. She very calmly allows her fangs to drop. She drinks every last drop of her blood, leaving nothing but a mummified husk. The corpse falls back on her bed. Rixie licks her lips and shudders in ecstasy. She was good, real good, she says, looking to Benjamin, who almost attacks her then and there, but Guido's big form blocks his way. And he says, sit down! You're gonna let her taunt me like this. Believe me, I should do worse myself. Besides, we're not alone. And with this, Rixie screams in horrible, agonizing pain, as David, who has seen everything, had been able to get the knife that his mom had dropped. Rixie was the closest to his room, and therefore he'd been the one to stab her viciously in the leg. The woman grabs the boy, kicking and struggling, screaming by the throat. She snarls angrily as Guido roars, "Stay where you are!" Boy, look at me. David looks to the rotund vampire. That is Guido. You will be silent Set him down, Rixie. Now. She does as she's told, too afraid to even think of denying her maker. The full-blooded vampire, one in whom had actually been brought across by Malachi, the youngest of the three purebloods, looks to David, who is standing there, trembling. He's actually wet his pants due to his terror and fear. Tears stain his cheeks. But he cannot move. He cannot even will a finger, much less a step forward. You will sit down on your bed. Am I clear? He does as he is told. The presence in his mind too powerful for him to deny. Now at this, Rixie looks at him angrily. She yanks a knife out of her leg and throws it aside where it clatters to the floor. You know the law. We all know it. I don't care. I want that little bastard dead. I understand, Rixie. This is on all of us. We did not see him. We're going to have to be careful with this. So what are you saying, old man? I mean, come on, we can't just leave a little snot here to... He won't remember a thing. Matter of fact, Rixie, this is where I'm going to need you. Your strength is a little bit beyond mine. But I need you to wipe his memories. She looks at him. And why would I want to do that? I know where you're going with this, Gweed. I have spoken. If you think of denying me, I will kill you here and now. I've always loved you deeply, Rixie. Do not deny me this. Do not put this burden upon my shoulders. But you know the law. You know what will happen if we kill this child. We do not need the elders coming down on our heads like this. This is bad enough that we were going to do what I had planned. And believe me, we'll still be able to do it. But we're going to have to do this my way. We have all had our fill. Killing the boy would also be a waste. You know what I feel about waste, the obese man says, somewhat hypocritically. She nods slowly, and with this, she puts her fingers to the boy's temples and touches her forehead to his own. She erases his memories then and there. I can't tell you how long it'll last, but hopefully it'll be permanent. He nods slowly. Even if it's for a couple of months or a couple of years, maybe even a couple of days, it matters little. By that time, we will be gone. So where are you going to take him? Where are we going to take him? That's easy enough. There's homeless shelters here, or there. And by the time he remembers anything, and of course, if he says what we are and what we have done, most likely he will either be dealt with or, regardless, it matters little. A homeless shelter? Of course, he has no home. Don't you think you'd be somewhat, somewhat poetic, don't you think? Besides, a little urchin like this, living amongst the human trash, this is he was meant to. I believe it'll be perfect and very fitting. The best kind of revenge, don't you think? She smirks, and with this, she takes the boy by the hand, and they all walk out together towards the charger. The thing is, all of the motion detection as well as the security systems, that stuff don't work on vampires. They seem to have a natural aura that cuts off such things. It has always been a blessing and a curse for them. And of course, there are no reflections to be seen. And thus ends the first experience, as well as the horrific events that had happened. And of course, the heads of each victim, they're easily taken. Because you see, Benjamin has a very lovely habit. He loves to collect trophies, and Guido finds it amusing. But such is the way of things. The three rogue vampires take their trophies and get in that car. It will be dumped on the side of the road a few hundred miles later, and they leave. Mirrodin looks at the man, horrified. He continues his story, finishing it. Before they took me out of that house, I don't know how they were able to do this, but they were able to remove more of my sister's blood. And they wrote the hounds are loose all over the house. Rixie, she told me that the hounds of hell would come for me if I ever told them that. She told me this to me, of course, after she wiped my memories. They dropped me off at the Star Hope. A couple of social workers found me. The rest you pretty much know. They pretty much put me in the system. Of course, I couldn't remember anything for at least close to 5 years afterward. And by that time, it was well too late. Things were pretty rough for me, as you know, and I had to do some very questionable things to survive. Until I hit middle school and things got better for me from then on out. I think you understand where we're going with this. Sorry I didn't tell you before. It's just, it hurts too much to talk about, for one. Number two, I heard when I was unconscious because of our link. I heard that bastard taunting you, saying 3 against 1 would stand a chance against them. I know better because of what I've seen you do. However, there's still a small part of me that worries. And I've lost enough people I've loved, Mirrodin. I don't want to lose you. The woman actually breaks down then and there. Just hearing that story, and actually due to their mental link, a very powerful telepathic and empathetic bond, she had remembered everything with him, due to him allowing her to actually share in that link. When he had told her the story, he had actually given her permission, mentally, to see his memories. And that's... it's not a good thing. She actually leans into him and breaks down, crying. He rocks her back and forth as best he can. She is not crying because she's needing support, not truly. She's crying because he cannot cry. She's crying for both of them. She clenches her fists angrily as she basically pulls him close to her. She swears right then and there she will find these 3 vampires and she will kill them. There is no remorse or any type of mercy or really any kind of empathy planned for them. They're going to die. At this moment, there are no true laws in which they broke. And they killed, of course, if they killed David, they would have. However, they did not feed from him, as such things are forbidden and considered taboo. However, this is personal. And at this point in time, she's not too concerned about any kind of laws being broke. In the end, the elders can call a blood hunt. Basically for any kind of act of insubordination or disrespect. And Malachi, well, Brius took care of that problem a long time ago. His own youngest son had grown out of control so bad in his bloodlust and savagery, as well as his just arrogance. Brius had actually been forced to stake him. He could not bring himself to kill his youngest son, but believe me, he has been in a very deep sleep or torpor for at least the last 300 years. Unfortunately, a lot of his little broodlings Now true, had he been killed, they would have died as well. But in the end, due to this fact, many of these little bastards are still running around, while some obey the rules. It explains a lot to her now. It makes sense. She can no longer hesitate in trying to track them. She had kind of slowed her roll on that in the past due to not wanting to traumatize her lover any further than he had been. But now that she knows everything, all bets are off. She reassures him as best she can that she can take care of this. David grows tired and he falls asleep in her embrace. It will be many days, possibly many weeks, before he is up to full health. She lays him down, disgusted herself for showing him such weakness. But in the end, it was needed. And thus concludes Unforgiven, Chapter 3. In the next story and chapter, dear listener, you shall be witness to Jake's path as he refuses to veer off course. You shall see his story leading further and further down through the darkness in his madness and desperation, and it shall bring him full circle in an act that he will not be able to reverse. This act shall bring him full circle, as I said, to the present, the very horrific situation in which he landed in Chapter 1. Also, you shall witness Mirrigan's terrifying revenge upon those who dared take Petrus from her, as well as an act of desperation, near madness, as well as a small amount of foolishness, and which would set her upon the path, and which she would be forced to take for many 100 years to 1,000 years to come. I shall be releasing Chapter 4 quite soon. Be blessed, my friends. Peace.